Hello, all you people out there in internet land. My name is Britt Kolick. I use they, she pronouns. I'm a professional stage manager. Congratulations to the 2024 class on your recent graduation. Here are some things that I did post-college and things that I wish I did post-college so that hopefully I can help you out a little bit as you make your next step into a career in the arts. One thing I absolutely loved having was my resume, my portfolio, and my website. My resume left a lot to be desired, my portfolio was pretty bare bones, and my website looked like somebody handed me a rubric that said, here, do these things, and I did those things, mostly because it was for a class, but I was happy I had all of that nonetheless, because all that meant was I had done the bulk of that work in class. I had done the bulk of the programming and the formatting, and all I have to do now is go in, revamp, revise. I don't have to do huge overhauls or start building from scratch anymore. I had a resume and a portfolio really because I was applying to graduate school. If I hadn't chosen to apply to graduate school, I don't think I probably would have had a resume, but I definitely would not have had a portfolio. So that is something I recommend doing if you're a junior going to be a senior, or maybe if you're a senior on one of your holiday breaks. I always recommend Thanksgiving or Christmas, especially Christmas, because you're sort of done with work for a very large chunk of time. Finding pieces of your prompt book that you liked, finding templates you liked. Technology right now is super easy. You can just scan things from your phone and email them off to yourself and then put them in a PDF merger or splitter. So I wish I had worked on that sooner, but I was glad that I'd had the bare bones of both a resume and a portfolio going into the professional world. I was glad that I had all three of these going into the professional world because it meant that there was something to show and that there's something to grow from. Your first resume is never going to look great. Your first portfolio is never going to look great. Your first website's going to be a little bit janky sometimes, but you have something to show and you have something to grow forward from. My website's Weebly. I got it for free in college. I still use it for free. Some of my favorite actors and friends still use Weebly websites. They use free websites. They don't pay for it. Do what's going to make you feel comfortable and financially stable. And if you don't think that you're going to use the website a lot, but you just want to have a place where people can go and look at your reel, look at your headshots, look at your resume, absolutely keep it free. Take that financial burden off yourself. I love it for free, and I think it's a great place for me to put not only all of my stage management work, but all of my technical work that can have its own separate tab. I love being able to share what I'm currently doing, especially through Instagram and through YouTube, and I love having a place that people can go find that and go from it. So I was really, really happy I had those, and I had jumping off points. One, I had something to share with companies that I was applying for, and I had a jumping off point of, okay, maybe it's time to revamp this resume, or maybe somebody says, hey, you have a lot of great information, it's just not formatted right. So I loved having that jumping off point. One thing I do wish I'd had graduating college was I wish I had done my CV. A CV means so many different things, especially like across the pond and in different countries, but here in America, a CV is a document that has every single thing that you've done. So I wish I had done that sooner, mostly because I did a ton of work in college in scene shops and with building. And when I did it last year, I definitely forgot some things the first time around and had to do about 3 or 4 passes before I found that I had everything that needed to be said on there. So, and my big tip to everybody, resumes, portfolios, CVs, keep editing copies. Keep editing copies, like Word docs, all that sort of good stuff. That way, when you need to add to it, or if you want to subtract from it and redo it, you already sort of have that template. You already have that template. You already have the format you like. You don't have to go in and redo the whole thing again. You just have to, for me, it's mostly add boxes in a grid. So the next thing that I love that I did when I got back into stage management, because I did take a 6-month hiatus between graduation and my first gig, more on that in another video, was I kept personal life and professional life separate. In college, that's really hard to do because you are in programs, you're in classes with these people. These people more or less are your friends because they are friends of convenience. You're spending every single day together, you're working together, you're doing all of these things. So when you get out into the real world, that's not always the case. You are spending a lot of time with people in rehearsal spaces and in meetings, but very few of them are going to be your friends because you're all going off to your day jobs, whatever, you're working, and I liked keeping it separate. My Facebook is used mostly for job hunting. There's a stage manager forum. I love going on and just seeing questions on there. and I like trying to find jobs, see who's hiring, see who's in need of things, all of that sort of thing. And I use Facebook as a way to show off the work that I'm doing. Same thing with my stage management Instagram. I made that in March or April of 2020 because I thought it'd be something cool to do during the pandemic. I sort of abandoned it, and then I brought it back in 2022 when I started working professionally because I wanted a place to put all of my stage management work, and I thought that it would be better to keep that separate. That way I could still live a personal life and do things that I wanted to do personally and post about it, and not have to worry about somebody finding that and thinking, oh, well, here's a picture of Brit on a night out next to a picture of them stage managing. I have a whole stage management Insta, I have a whole personal Insta. Some people follow both, very few people follow both. If you know, you know, but most of them on the professional Instagram, love seeing it, love doing it. And for me, it's a great way for me to keep that work with that work. I had a real problem in college of just living a stage manager life and only being a stage manager and forgetting I'm also a human. I'm allowed to have human feelings, human emotions. I'm allowed to go out. I'm allowed to do things. So for me, it's a great way for me to keep personal and professional separate. I have a lot of friends now who are starting to do that as well and getting Instagrams for their acting, their directing, their whatever they're doing, their art. It's super easy. It's free to do. And I think it is a great way to have a nice space dedicated solely to your job. So I recommend doing that. Do what you'd like. If you'd like to make all of your social media, you know, about your professional life. If you don't have any social media and you're wondering if you should get it, that's a personal choice for you. But if you want to get it and not want to get wrapped up in all the negatives of social media, make it only for professional reasons. Make it so you can post reels, you can post headshots, you can post things at what you're doing. So social media is a great tool. Make it your own. And I did get asked once, they were like, do you get a lot of jobs from it? Not yet. I'm still working on it. I'm still hoping one day someone sees the Instagram and is like, let's take a shot. That's why mine's called Adventures in Stage Management. I wanted to keep the fun in social media and the professionalism, but I didn't want my whole identity of Brit to be wrapped up in stage management. So that's why it's Adventures in Stage Management. It's why it's not Brit Cole like SM or something like that. I wanted it to have a fun, fresh feel, and I wanted it to be something different than myself. It's a completely separate identity, and I love that. So highly recommend doing that. This last one's going to be a little bit different, and I think it depends on who you are and what you do. I wish I'd gotten business cards sooner. I had waited about a year to get business cards, I think mostly because when I graduated college, I wasn't even sure if I was going to continue in theater, so I didn't want to spend a bunch of money on business cards. I knew some people who got really basic business cards from like USITT and SETC and conventions like that, and just got really, I hate saying simple, but they were simple business cards. They were white sheets of paper with your name and what you did and phone and email. I did mine on Canva. I use Canva a lot in my portfolio. I do a lot of cover pages, title pages, splash pages, and then just merge them into the document. I just Googled business cards. Canva was the first thing that came up. And I think for 35 bucks, I got like 250 business cards with free shipping. And they were really cool. They have a great design on them. On the back is a QR code that leads you directly to my contact page on my website, which I absolutely loved. No one has time anymore, I think, to just type it in. So I loved having something that took you straight to my website. People have those dot cards now, which basically take you to like a link tree and you can look at that. That's cool too. I don't mind handing out business cards. I like it. I think sometimes my friends get annoyed with it, but I love handing it out. I wish I'd done that just a little bit sooner. I think that it would have been a good testament to myself to sort of bet on myself that way, but the first 6 months post-grad, I wasn't even sure if I was going to continue with theater, so I'm not mad that I waited a year. I just sort of wish I had some confidence in myself to take that forward. In the same vein, headshots. So if you're an actor, absolutely get headshots post-college, post-graduation. If you're going to change your hair or anything, I would do that, then get headshots. I think most people who graduate from college already have their headshot pretty set in stone for at least the next year or so. But if you're in stage management, if you're in design, highly, highly recommend getting some professional photos done, put them on your website. Sometimes I've been asked several times by the local paper, and even like my college was doing something about alumni working, and I had really bad photos that I had taken of myself on self-timers. My friends have very jokingly made fun of them for it, and they are the reason I actually went and sought out to get headshots. The only reason I'm glad I didn't do it sooner was I lost a lot of weight post-college, so I'm glad I got them done when I did. I got them done about a year ago, but they weren't something that I was thinking about. I thought, I'm a stage manager, no one's supposed to see me, I'm in all black, I'm behind the scenes and making everything happen. But that doesn't mean you can't have professional photos. It doesn't mean somebody might not need it for a lobby poster. Somebody wants to do a story on you for the local paper, your website. You should have nice looking photography of yourself to show that I'm here, I'm a professional. It's really weird because nobody's looking at me and saying they have the right look for a stage manager. It's not like acting. Acting sometimes is about having the right look. But I like people to see a photo of me and say, that person looks like a professional, I want to hire them. Appearance still matters, even if you're supposed to be dressed in black and not seen. Sometimes looking at a photo is half the challenge. Sometimes all they see of you is a photo. So I recommend getting headshots. Headshots don't have to be incredibly expensive. I ended up going to a buddy of mine who I knew was still into photography and at the time was still taking on clients. I'd hit him up and say, hey, I'd love to have headshots done by you. And we worked out. Actually, he was really sweet. He negotiated like a really low price for me, like a family and friends discount. I think a lot of people in our industry have photographer friends, people who have either degrees in photography, who do photography as a side hustle. Reach out to one of them, reach out to local studios, see if you can, if you're nice and polite, the world will be right. Don't go in expecting anything free or any discounts, but you go in very polite, saying like this, that, and the other, you know, I think most places will work out a nice deal and you can get really good headshots done and taken. So that's all personal preference. Having said all of this, I don't think I was underprepared leaving undergrad. I think there were people who were a little bit more prepared than me, but the fact that I had a resume, a portfolio, and a website, and even an Instagram that at the time I wasn't using, I felt I was very prepared to go into the world of theater, because sometimes it isn't about how fancy your resume looks. Is it legible? Is it somewhat formatted correctly? Do you have good stuff on it? Sure. Places will take chances on you. I am very fortunate that I had places who wanted to take chances on me, and it's since grown my confidence and has allowed me to go off and to flourish. I have met many friends in this industry who I go and look on their websites, who I look at their resumes, I look at their portfolios, I see what they have, I see what I can use, what I can adjust and adapt on mine. So this whole industry, from the moment you start to the moment you end, is a learning experience. We are constantly changing, constantly evolving. There's always something new. And that's what's really exciting, I think. So while I wish I had done some of these things, I am really glad that I had the start that I did. I wouldn't be where I'm at, and I really love where I'm at. I love the people in my life. I love how far I've come, and I love watching that evolution of myself to go from a college graduate who didn't even know if they were going to pursue theater professionally to a professional working stage manager. So I hope that this has been helpful. I wish all of the 2024 graduates best of luck in their future endeavors, and remember, it's okay to make mistakes. You know, you're still learning. We are all learning. We are always continuing to learn. Until next time, drink water, give grace. Have a great day, everyone.